Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Dog Day Chess. I'm here with Dogdayboy again.
Hi, guys.
And have you ever heard that it can be unwise to bring your queen out too early in the game?
Yes,
Yeah. And, well, why?
because she gets chased around a lot.
Yeah, it can happen. I mean, every rule in chess, a rule of thumb anyway, has its exceptions, but that was certainly the case in the game that I want to show you. I do want to show you what can happen if you do bring your queen out prematurely. Okay, so I'm going to pick up this game at move just after move 9. I'm playing white, and it is white to move. And what's happened here is we've just had a series of exchanges, and half of the minor pieces have come off the board. And now that the dust has settled, the net result is that I'm down a pawn. But I think the reason I'm down a pawn is because black brought the queen out to participate in the exchange. And as I said, that's not always bad, but there's a certain risk that comes with that, and we'll see what happened in this game. So it's white to move, and I start by developing my rook here to the half-open e-file, and that's developing with an attack. And so black brings his queen back to this position. And the next move I make is I improve the position of my knight, bringing it to a more central location, again attacking the queen. And black moves his, oops, too fast. Black moves his queen over there. And as you just saw, the next move is I gain some space by pushing my pawn. That pawn is protected by my knight, and again attacking the queen, and that sends the queen off to the side. Now, I make another move to attack the queen, and I actually have a couple of options here. One option is moving the bishop to this diagonal and attacking along here. The other option I looked at is pushing this pawn. Now, one of those two moves is a bad move. So if you want to take a moment, pause the video and see if you can figure out which one is the bad move and why. Okay, so the bad move is the pawn push, and I'll show you why. I was in a position similar to this in a previous game, and I pushed the pawn thinking it seemed like a natural move. But then I was shocked when black took his bishop and captured my pawn. Whoa, what's going on here? I thought, well, I can just win the bishop, can't I? But no, look what happens. This pawn here, which I thought was protecting that pawn, was actually pinned to the rook by the queen. And if I were to capture the bishop, I would lose my rook. So the pawn push is a bad move. But lucky for me this time, I learned from my mistake. At least I learned from this mistake. I don't always learn from my mistakes, but I learned from this one. And I moved the bishop instead. And that pushed the queen way offside into a6. So now, I mean, I think I've got adequate compensation for the lost pawn because my king is safe and I've got a big lead in development. I've done, what, how many moves did I do here just chasing the queen around? It's about four or five moves that I've developed my pieces, and all black has done is move his queen. So I've got a huge lead in development. So now it's time to capitalize on that advantage. A lead in development is what's considered a dynamic strength or a dynamic advantage, meaning that if you don't capitalize on it immediately, you'll lose that advantage. It won't take very long for black to catch up in development. So I found this move as my next move, moving my queen to f3. And this is actually a fork because the queen is hitting the rook on e8, and it's also hitting the f7 pawn, which has already been attacked by the knight. Okay, so black pushes the pawn to save the rook, which lets me capture the f7 pawn with check. And the king moves. Okay, so the next move I do is I bring my bishop into the attack. Whenever I replay some famous grandmaster game, it seems like whenever they attack, they mobilize all of their pieces, and they involve all of their pieces in the attack. So I'm trying to learn from that. I'm trying to get they never do it with just one or two pieces. So I bring my bishop into the attack, and the king moves over here. Okay, so looking at this, I mean, I would love to just be able to plot my queen there and say checkmate, but of course that square is defended by the knight, so that's not possible. But I've had the initiative for quite a few moves now, and I did not want to give it up. I felt that it was important for me to keep the initiative in order to keep the attack going. So I actually did a very speculative move here. I sacrificed my knight for the initiative. So what I did was I captured that pawn, and fully expecting the knight to capture that, I sacrificed my knight for the pawn and for the initiative. So it was pretty speculative. I wasn't sure how this would work out. I didn't have a concrete continuation. So I continued to attack with my bishop, and black blocks the attack. And I fully expected him to do that. And the reason is that when you are under attack, it's usually a good idea to try to trade off or to exchange attacking pieces. And my white bishop is an attacking piece, so generally it would make sense to trade it off and reduce one of the attackers. But I went through with the exchange, and the reason for that is when we play it out, I've managed to lure the king out a little closer to the center. Okay? And now I can follow that up by bringing my rook into the picture. So my rook shoots up and captures that pawn with check, and the king falls back, seeking shelter. And now I reposition my queen, trying to get a different angle of attack on the king, and the king falls back onto the back rank. And now I can capture another pawn with my rook. Actually, the balance of material is now equal, despite the sacrifices and being pawned down on the exchange. So now the king actually has two places that he can go to. He can go either to d8 or he can go to b7. Now d8 is actually the better of those two options. Now after this move, Fritz, the computer program, calculates and found a mate, a forced mate, an 8 for white. I wouldn't have been able to find it in 8 moves, but I probably would have been able to, chase down the king and continue getting the advantage. But in any case, in the game, black didn't move there. Black instead moved to b7, and now from here there's a mate in 1. Do you see the mate in 1?
Yes, it's queen to c7.
Right on. Queen to c7. Checkmate. So, and look at the black queen, still stuck on a6 after all that. So after being harassed and pushed way offside, the queen had no way to come to the aid of the king. And so that's, I guess that's the theme for this example is just be careful about bringing your queen out too soon, because she can be harassed, and at the very least you'll probably get behind in development. In the worst case, she'll be pushed offside, or she might even get trapped and lost. So that's the theme for today's example, and I hope you got something out of it, and we hope to see you again next time.
Bye.
Bye-bye.